Oh,
Okay,
it's
I'm going to record you, Abdi, so
yeah.
go ahead whenever you're ready.
It's green apple.
Yeah, I'm ready. Hi everyone. My name is Abdi. Today, I would like to present the food. It's called an kale salad with apple toast almond. Uh, this food, it consists of different kind of vegetables, which has the whole, essential nutritional for the body. So this almond, uh, okay. So if I talk about a little bit the ingredient of this food, that's the picture of this food. When you want to make a different, when you add a different types of this food, the ingredients are olive oil, orange. You can make a fresh squeezed orange, and teaspoon of minced shallot or kosher salt. You can add a little bit salt there, black pepper, and a kale which removed with ribs. So you can, when you want to make this food, you have to rip it off the ribs, and apple with thinly sliced. So you can slice the apple and dry cherries and toasted sliced almond and crumbled feta. This is all the ingredients you can prepare for this food. If we talk about the nutrition of this food, it has all the body essential nutrition that our body needs. This food has, there's calcium. You can get vitamin K. You can get vitamin A and vitamin C, magnesium, copper, and fiber. So as you see the nutrients of this food, it has all the body essential nutrients. If you have a calcium, and you get all the three types of vitamins, and it has magnesium and copper and fiber, which when you eat the food, it has a fiber that helps you to produce all the waste. You may not get constipated. And in my conclusion, here's the question: is kale healthy to eat? Because since we see all body essential nutrient that gives the people, so I can say yes, it is. It's health. Kale, it's a superfood according to the WEMD. That's the people, those talks about the health of the food and the different advantage or nutrients, all the part. And it's hardly green vegetable, which is the member of it's called a cabbage family. So this food is the part of cabbage family. It can lower the cholesterol, the people who has the cholesterol and the cancer risk. So people says if you mostly eat this food, you will get a lower cholesterol and a lower, you can lower your risk of the cancer too. It's low in calories, because if you have a lot of calories, that means you will gain weight, and it has a low. That means you may not gain weight for this food. Unlike the most of the vegetables, because this food is consists of most of the vegetables that are a whole essential body nutrients, and it's a good source of a whole range of essential nutrients. So in the conclusion, I will recommend this food everybody to eat, because it's a daily dish. Is not something that you can eat a special day. It's a daily dish. So I love this food, and there's only one ingredient that I didn't add to this food. It's a red wine. I didn't add it because I don't drink wine, so I exclude it. But the other people who drink wine, they can add that too. but so it's a good health food, and it's easy to prepare too. Thank you for your listening.
What's that? It's chicken. It
What
looks
about
like
fish?
KFC.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lei. In this food speech, I will talk about sweet and sour cup. It looks fish dumpling like this. This dish has a history of 3,000 years in China. Its origination in my hometown, Shandong province. The main ingredients is the yellow river catfish, and other ingredients include blue sketch, ketchup, salt, vinegar, sugar, soy sauce, cooking wine, garlic, green onion, ginger. This dish is very easy to make. First, you need to clean the fish and use a knife to make a few small cuts on the fish body. Then fry the fish until it looks golden. Second, use the left ingredients to mix the sweet and sour sauce. And third, pour the sauce on the fish. It's done. In the past, Chinese people usually eat this dish during Chinese New Year. Like this. This is many kinds of food of Chinese. Like this. Let's move on to the nutrition. The cap contains protein, vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin B, and other vitamins, and is also rich in minerals elements such as potassium, sodium, phosphorus, calcium, iodine, and the omega-3 and vitamin E are helpful for your heart health. In this slide, I made a pyramid to show how much contain nutrition facts in fish. At the bottom, it illustrates the most nutrition facts are protein and omega-3 in the fish. The second layer illustrates there are many vitamins and minerals. At the top, it shows that there is little sugar, salt, and fat. This dish is very healthy for people. As we have seen today, sweet and sour cap is a healthy dish. It looks golden. The sauce tastes sweet and sour, and the fish tastes soft and tender. The fish is rich in protein and minerals. They are healthy for your brain and body. Thank you.
I put out an email request to my colleagues, my other ESOL teachers. Colleagues are like your coworkers, to see if they have ideas about how I can put a video on the quiz, because you have to take notes. And I don't want to, I mean, technically I could play the video for you and you could take notes while we're watching it, but I know it's not always possible for everybody to, for everybody to be online at the minute of class. Some of you go back and watch this later. So I know that that might not be a good solution. So I'm trying to get other ideas. One idea I can do is the chapter 5 and 7 lectures I put on The links, where are they here? I think I put it in here. So one of these weeks I had an announcement for the chapter 7 lecture, or chapter 5. Maybe I didn't put it on this class. Maybe I put it on my other class. Some people were having trouble playing the lecture. I guess I did it for my other class. And so if you've ever opened one of these links to see the recording of classes, I don't know if anybody's ever done that. But if you open that, it takes you to a YouTube channel. And so I can upload the lecture video on YouTube as well. So you could open that during the quiz to watch it. And it would be a locked site that you could only get to during the test. So yeah, I have to figure out all that stuff. But like I said, I'm asking for advice from my colleagues and see if anybody else has done that, if they know what to do. But all the things for the test are already posted on D2L here. So we're doing the vocabulary, the lecture language, the note-taking strategies, and the presentation strategy. Today we're going to look at the presentation strategy for chapter 7. I do need to ask you about that because I'm a little bit confused because of my 2 sections. When I'm at school in the classroom teaching, it's easier for me to remember if I did something already with which class, but for the book, we have a presentation skill about using a visual aid. Did we already talk about this page about the girls' survey about news?
No.
I know I watched it in one of my classes, but I can't remember which one. Which is not good. I try to take notes of what I do every day so I can keep track, but this particular one I couldn't remember. I remember doing it, I just couldn't remember. So it was this girl who talked about that. Have we watched her?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So then it's my other class tomorrow that I still need to watch that one. But what I was gonna say is normally, if we're in class, I give everybody a graph. I have a whole folder full of about 25 graphs. And I give everybody one to talk about, like that girl had in her presentation, because the skill for this unit for the presentations is how you talk about a graph when you're giving a presentation and you have data to show. And usually what I have the students do is just take their graph up to the front and we put it under the document camera and they tell the class about their graph and they practice these skills. However, we can't really do that right now because I don't have a way to send out graphs to you, and it's a little bit hard to do live video for everybody. So I want you to look at these skills and I want to talk about them, but I'm not putting it on the test. So that's why for the presentation skills, there's only one there. It's the one from chapter 5. So I do want to look at this now, and then I want to look at the video. This is page 90. So it's the chapter 7 presentation strategy. And it's talking about that sometimes if you have complicated data or statistics to go with your presentation, you might need to use some kind of a graph or an image. And it talks about what you should do when you have a graph to show on the screen. And it says, if you skip down here,
We
to
we
speak,
did this one before.
did we talk about these steps?
Yeah, because I
Okay.
have write down the answer here.
Okay. So this is good. This part's not going to be on the test. Only the ones from Unit 5, and the ones from Unit 5 are the ones that we used for the presentations. So if you remember on the planning sheet for the presentations, we talked about kind of summarizing your main points in your conclusion. So there will be questions about that. And there's information here on page 64. And then over here on page 65 are some of the expressions that we talked about that you can use to signal that you're giving your conclusion. So those are the two things to review for the test when you look at the D2L here. So that's what this is part on page 64 and the top of page 65. That's what that's talking about. The rest of these are pretty common ones. So the vocabulary, the lecture language, and the note-taking strategies, we've done all those. The note-taking strategy we talked about in chapter 7 was the important information. So the lecture language is talking about important information, and the note-taking strategy was this one that we looked at where we talked about putting a star or an exclamation point or something next to the notes so that you know it's an important point that the instructor wants to make sure you know. The last point here has an arrow by it. Sorry for all those black lines. The last point here has an arrow by it, which is for conclusion. Like this is the final main important point. The signal that she gave in the text is the point I want to stress the most. So that's one of our signal words for important information. And this is how you can mark it in your notes if it's a very important point. So those are the skills that I want to stress for this chapter. Any questions on that stuff?
So you will announce in the D2L everything, right?
Yep, I will.
Yeah.
It's all in there. So the page I just showed you from D2L, that was already from Monday because I always put up the announcement a week ahead of the test. So this is already Monday's announcement for April 20. And then the homework for today was to make sure you finish that vocabulary practice worksheet. We're going to look at that Monday right before the test, but I will be giving you feedback. Let's see, today's Wednesday. So either Thursday or Friday, I'm going to be looking at those for feedback. So if you haven't gotten yours in the folder yet, you can put it in the folder and watch for my feedback, which is basically the corrections. And then we'll talk about it together Monday morning. Those of you in my reading class, we've already done 2 tests now. Our second one was today. And so we still will meet at 10:35 on Monday. We'll talk about that vocabulary quick for about 10 minutes, and I'll give you the instructions you need for the test. And then what I've been doing is the test will be open during class. If you're ready to take it right away, you can take it right away, but there is a time limit on it. And you can only open it one time. So you can't open the quiz and go out and go back in. Once you've opened it, you have to finish and submit it in the time limit. And usually the time limit is more time than I give you in class just because of the technology things. So it'll be, normally we do an hour in class. So this time maybe 75 minutes or so. I have to figure that out. It depends on how long the lecture is, because the lecture you can watch 2 times for the notes. So once I've given you all the instructions, the quiz will open, and like I said, you can take it right away between about 11 o'clock and 12:20 or 12:15. If you're not in a place where it's quiet at your house, or you or you'll have interruptions or people bothering you, I recommend doing the test at a time where you're quiet and not interrupted. So I leave it open the rest of the day.
There
So
will
that's
be
the way I've been doing it. Because
Yes.
maybe you have little kids at your house and it's easier for you to do it at 8 o'clock after the little kids go to bed and you won't have interruptions or noise. So that's how I've been doing my tests. You need to finish it that day. Otherwise you'll have to contact me and figure out another time to open it up because it does lock down. I also need you to promise me that you're not going to share information from the test with your classmates, because obviously if someone takes it at 11 o'clock on Monday, there's going to be other people taking it later, and I don't want any information getting passed around. So that's how the test is going to work. Are there any questions about that? Everybody's muted except one other person. So if you want to ask a question, you can unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand or put it in the chat box. Whatever method.
There will be the lecture too in our test.
There will be a lecture. I have to figure out, I think I can either put in a link that will take you to the YouTube page, or I might be able, I think I have to do it that way. I think the only way I can do it is to give you the link. But I'll have to test that out this weekend. I have been busy with lots of meetings and lots of class stuff. So I haven't started working on the test yet. I'll do that Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, if you give us the link, the video link that we can watch before test, maybe it will be great. So it will not take us that much long at the time of test.
That's correct. And it also is not a download. So if I put in the file, you have to download it to watch it. That takes a long time, especially if you have slow internet, because it's going to be maybe like 8 or 9 minutes long.
Okay.
So if I do it like the class recordings, like I mentioned already, if you open the class recording, it takes you, so this was our class from Monday, and it takes you to a YouTube video, which I think all of you can watch YouTube. That works on your phone or every kind of device.
Yeah.
And then you're literally just watching it on the internet. You don't have to go through the step of downloading the video. You can just watch it. So this was our class time from Monday. And if you'll see here, we're on YouTube now. And this is a private YouTube link that nobody else can see unless they get the link from me. So hopefully that will be the best way to just share the lecture video. And like I said, oops, sorry, it started playing. So that's from Monday. So anyway, yeah, you can listen to it 2 times that way at your own, you know, you could stop in between and play it again, just kind of at your own pace. But that's the easiest way to share a video now, because you don't have to worry about downloading anything, because it'll be a big file. But if it's on YouTube, you can watch it right from the internet. You don't have to download. Any other questions?
So if the time is, you know, runs out, can we still submit, or we can contact you?
The way it's set up, when I make the quiz, is I can leave a window, what they call a window, an amount of time for you to submit. So let's say I put on 75 minutes, so that's an hour and 15 minutes. And when that time is up, it will say, your time is over, please submit your quiz. And then there's what they call a grace period, meaning you get a little bit of extra time to click on the submission and the steps you need to submit it. Even though you can't write any more quiz answers, it will still give you time to do the submission. So nobody will miss it. And I think on my other quiz, I actually sent that as 10 minutes. But I've never had anybody run out of time yet. A couple of my grammar students said that they were a little short on time and they were rushing at the end, but they still finished it in the amount of time that we had. And I'll make sure, I don't think anybody in class has taken more than an hour for a test. So if I give you 75 minutes, that's 15 extra minutes than we have in class. And some people are finishing in as little as like 40 or 45 minutes. So what I'm really doing is taking the average time and adding 30 extra minutes for anyone who wants to check things, or, if you are a little bit slower at writing your notes, for example, that'll give you extra time for that.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the test? It'll be the same as our other tests. So there'll be sentences with vocabulary that you type in, just like you did for the homework. So the homework sheet that we did for today, I think I have it on my computer here. It might have been on my school computer. Yep, it's in. I have my school files open and my home computer files open, so I have to kind of keep track of both things here. So when you do the vocabulary, it's going to look just like this one that you did for homework, where you can type in the box. And, but it'll be electronic, right? So every sentence on the quiz questions will have a square here like this that you can type in, and you'll also have the words at the top, just like you have here. Okay, so that'll be very similar to the worksheets. And then the skills questions will be multiple choice mostly, like we've had on the other tests. And then the note taking. So those are the 3 categories. And then I'm still putting the surveys on my test.
Yeah.
So those will also be like where you put in how many hours you study, you'll type in the box. Where you choose what you studied, it'll give you a multiple choice list of the things, like the vocabulary pages, the vocabulary websites, the skills pages, those kinds of things. And then also which part of the test was hardest also will be like a multiple choice. So it will look very similar to the tests we've already done. It'll just be that they're on the computer page instead of on paper.
Is this the last test we will have, or we have more?
No. Oh, actually, I had a student yesterday ask me when they take their test Tuesday if we're done with class, and I thought he meant like he could be done for the day because we didn't have anything besides the test. He said, no, I mean done with the semester. I said, no, the semester goes till May 14. So after we do the test Monday, we'll finish next week, and then the next week of class time, we're gonna kind of buzz through Unit 5 pretty quick. These 2 chapters took longer because of all the presentation stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll have a week and a half and 2 weekends to do the 2 chapters in Unit 5. And then on Wednesday, which will be May 13, we'll do our last test, which is the Unit 5 test. And it's not a final exam. It won't have anything from the whole book. It'll only be from Unit 5. So that's on our schedule. So we'll just have this test and 1 more test online, yeah. And the presentations that you're doing, those are the only presentations.
All right.
We're a little bit in a rush finishing up because of the 2 weeks we lost after spring break.
Yeah. So are the whole year be online, or still they decide that will be online, or?
They're still deciding. Summer probably. So those of you in my grammar class,
Yeah.
probably is 90% for summer.
Yeah.
And fall maybe. At least maybe starting out in August. But, everything's changing every week. We don't know.
Yeah.
They might Summer doesn't actually start until, I need to look at the number. I think it's May 26th, something like that. So that's over a month away. That's 5 weeks from yesterday, summer starts. So thinking about the news in the last 5 weeks and everything that happened, things can change a lot in 5 weeks. So
Yeah.
by 5 weeks, we may be back at school. They may be opening up the state again and letting people come to school. But I don't know. We also don't know yet about the summer scholarships, so that's a problem. But we keep asking them probably 2 times a week. We're sending them an email and they keep saying, we don't know, we don't know. So again, we have 5 weeks till summer, so that should be enough time to figure all that out. But
So is that still a time that the student can apply the scholarship, or?
yes, I think the deadline is May 15, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
For sure in May. So you for sure have at least a week left of April. Obviously, if we don't know until next week, they won't have the deadline be next week because they need to give you time. Let me see if I can find it, because Peter's the one who's been working on this with Garrett. Come on. I'm trying to see what the last email is I had about this. So Garrett sent an email. Oh, this was a long time ago. This is not the newest email about this, because this was from before spring break.
Yeah.
I'll have to find out. I can figure that out for you.
So when the scholarship comes, who gives the scholarship to the students? How they give?
The scholarship is the scholarship I'm talking about. There are scholarships for fall.
Yeah.
And those are due, I think, May 1st for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Abdi, I think you asked me for a letter. I haven't done that yet. I have to do that.
Yeah.
I think those are the ones that are May 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the ESOL scholarships, which are for summer, are May 15th.
Scholarship, the due date was extended for 15 May.
Is that for the whole school or for
Whole
the
school.
summer scholarship?
Whole school fall semester.
Oh, okay, perfect. So the summer scholarships are for the ESOL department. They're only for ESOL classes.
Okay.
And what they do is if you get a scholarship, then the money goes into your account to pay your bill. They don't actually send you the money. It's transferred into your school account to cover your tuition.
Okay.
That's how that works. And they're for I shouldn't say they are, because this is part of what we're waiting to find out. The last years that we've had this, it was $500 per student,
Mm-hmm.
which will probably not cover your whole class. I think the classes are about 700 or 800, depending on how many credits, because some of our summer classes are 3 or 4 or 5. But it's most of it. It would be a really good deal if you could do it and take a summer class, obviously. So that's all I know for now. But I will find out, and if I do find something out, I'll make sure and post it on D2L.
Yeah, thank you.
The other thing I did for my class yesterday, because some of the students were having a hard time with their PowerPoint. And so Peter jumped into class with us. I didn't know he was going to, so I logged in for class and all the students are on the screen and Peter's in there. It was really funny. I'm like, Peter, what are you doing here? He said, I'm crashing your class. Crashing means like coming in when you're not invited. If you crash a party, it means you go to the party when you weren't invited. There's even a thing called wedding crashing. You can go to a wedding when you're not invited.
The
And so I
pricing,
put this contact information in for Peter. This is his phone number, this is his Zoom number, and this is his hours. So I'm gonna put that on our class also. So if you do have questions about the scholarship, he's taking care of, oh, I didn't share this, hang on. I'm not sharing my screen, you can't see what I'm showing you. Where is it? Here. So when he left my class, all the students were like, how do I get in touch with you? So I put this up yesterday for my speaking class, and I'll put it on your announcement for today. This is his phone number. This is his Zoom room, his meeting room, and he's in there all these hours. He just has it sitting open. He's working at home like everybody else. But he just has his room open, and if you log in, then it'll pop up on his screen that someone's in his room, and he can talk to you just like you would if you walked into his office and talked to him at school. So if you do have scholarship questions, you can ask him. He's the one in charge of that. So the last thing I want to do is watch the video for chapter 7. The questions are on page 87. We probably don't really have time to talk about those. I would definitely recommend, I would highly recommend, strongly recommend, whatever word you want to use, that you go back and watch this video again and do the questions as good preparation for the test. A trend, as we talked about, is a change. So this is about the changes in the way people get the news. So we've talked about the topic and stuff, but we haven't watched the lecture yet. And so watching this lecture and doing notes is a really good way to practice for the test. So I'm gonna share my screen and I'll play the video for you. And I'm gonna pause the recording while I'm playing it because I'm gonna put the video recording in the announcement. So if you're watching the recording of class, you can go to the announcement and watch the video yourself.
Yeah.
So that is the lecture. I'm gonna put it in the announcement on D2L. So it'll be loaded on the YouTube page with a link for you to go back and watch it again. Normally I assign it for homework and we watch it in class and we usually see it a lot more. So it's definitely a good idea before the test to go back and listen to chapter 5 and chapter 7, both. It's good listening practice and it's good to kind of get used to listening for the lectures. I heard a bunch of our lecture language in there. He used lecture language for definitions when he talked about the flip side and the downside. He used lots of signals for important information, which are in our chapter. So hopefully you are starting to recognize some of those when you're listening and help you understand what's happening in the lecture. We're done early, but again, this is normally the time where we would be going to the lab and working on some listening stuff. So what I want you to do is take that time for listening to the lectures on your own. Monday is the test. Everything's on the test. Remember, we're going to get on at 10:35 at the regular time. We're going to go over the chapter 7 vocabulary practice. So again, if you did not put that in the assignment folder yet, make sure you finish that and put it in. There are points for that. I know normally in class we just do those in class, but I'm trying to give you as many assignments as we can do to try and get some more points for the end of the semester. And so I will be grading those in the folder, but we're going to be looking at it together on Monday, and I'll give you all the directions for the test on Monday. And then you can either take the test at 11. After I finish talking, you can take it right during the class time at 11, or you can take it some other time during the day, but just make sure that you, if you aren't there at 10:35, well, I'll still record all the instructions like I do with class every day. You can go back and watch the recording and then log in to do the test at some point on Monday. The test I did today, it ends at 11:55 p.m. And I do that because 12 o'clock is very confusing to people. You don't know if 12 a.m. is noon or 12 a.m. is midnight. So in order to not have anybody confused, it closes at 11:55 p.m. So that's probably how I'll do hours for Monday as well. So that's all I can think of. Any other questions?
So is this the lecture we were watching right now? Is that the lecture we will take an exam?
No, sorry. No, it'll be a new lecture for the exam. It is about media. I can't remember which one I've used. I have one that I use for this test. I have to look that up. So it'll be about a topic similar to this that you're, it's a new lecture, but not a new topic. But it will not be this one. This one is good to watch this weekend to just review and practice listening. And you could, I'd love to have you do note taking when you watch this again over the weekend, because that's good practice too.
All right.
Any other questions?
So the lectures on the test will be like this lecture that we watch.
Yes.
But this one for me not very clear. So
Well, when you do it on the test, you'll get to watch it 2 times, so that makes a big difference. Because I think if you go back and watch this guy now that you kind of have once you have the general idea of what he's talking about and what his points are, when you go back and watch it a second time, I think you'll understand a lot more.
So is the video as long as this one or it's short?
No, it'll be about this long. I don't know how long this one was. I didn't look at the number when I opened it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. It's, this one was 9 minutes. So it'll be right about 8 or 9 minutes. Yeah, that's what we've been doing all semester. I think the ones at the beginning were 7 or 8 minutes, but we've been doing 8 or 9 minutes for the last several chapters.
So if we watch times, it will become 18 minutes.
Yep.
And so probably we will run out of time, maybe. I don't know.
I'll make sure you have enough time.
All right.
I mean, we do it twice in class and everybody's spending an hour in class. We always did something first and had our break and then just did the test for like the last 60 or 70 minutes, if you remember back to before spring break.
Yeah.
And the 60 or 70 minutes in class was enough. And I usually give you more time just because the technology makes it a little bit trickier for people who aren't used to doing online stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure you have enough time.
Thank you. Yep.
Any other questions? You also can call me during the test. So if something happens that you think you're running out of time, you can call me. I can make adjustments as you're working.
Sure.
Okay, we've got about just under 30 minutes if you have writing class this afternoon. I don't know how many of you have writing after this, but if you're meeting at your 12:40 time, that's just like 26 minutes. So I'm going to let you go so you can have a break. If you have any other questions, please stay online. You can ask me or you can email me. And again, make sure you put those vocabulary worksheets for chapter 7 in the assignment folder.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.